Hello everybody, and you are very welcome to the South Tip Arts Podcast. My name is Emer and I'll be your host. I can't believe it's number 4 already. And before we get started, if you're an artist or work within the arts sector and you want to shine a light on your work, I would be absolutely delighted to feature you here. And you can contact the podcast at southtip.artspodcast@gmail.com or through the Arts Centre office where the podcast has its base. Thanks also to everybody who's listened, subscribed and downloaded. I much appreciate your support. Also, your feedback is much appreciated and I would certainly welcome that too. The address again is southtip.artspodcast@gmail.com. You can also keep an eye on the Arts Centre's social media channels, and the podcast is available to download on iTunes and Spotify, as well as our dedicated YouTube channel. And for those of you that use SoundCloud, we are also based on there. The idea of this podcast is to highlight the good work that goes on in the South Tipperary area, and the Arts Centre really strives to be a hub where people can collaborate and network, and this project has the potential to possibly solidify some of the relationships that already exist. Your participation is really, really appreciated and would be of benefit to everybody. In this episode, we'll be hearing about Clonmel Theatre Guild's 50th anniversary celebrations, and we'll be having our first preview of this year's Clonmel Junction Arts Festival with the new festival director Cliona Maher. Firstly, however, in an ongoing wish to highlight the work of the amazing people that we have working within the arts in the South Tipperary area, I met up with Brigid Teehan, artist and art practitioner, about the various projects that she's involved in currently, as well as her plans to return to her personal practice as one of the artists that will take up residence in Clonmel Artists Studios, which are due to open soon. Brigid Teehan is a local artist working in the Clonmel area, and she is heavily involved in the foundation of Clonmel Artists Studios, which are almost at the point of being populated, shall we say, by the artists. Brigid, tell me a little bit about yourself and your own work, your background and your vision for the Clonmel Artists Studios.
Well, I've been working in Clonmel in various places. I suppose my initial studio is always in the my own home or out in the garden or on the kitchen table. So it's lovely to find a place of work that's outside where you live. I think it's good, but it's not always necessary either for any practice, I think, but it's certainly useful in terms of storage and having space to leave your work and move away, come back to it then later. So
interestingly, this very conversation was had with Helena, who's our new director, who spoke very similarly about, everybody, we've all been there. The studio is the kitchen table or a little corner of the bedroom. And you've got to put all that away when you're finished, or if you've got children or, other people to consider in the house. You can't just leave stuff all over the place. So I think having a studio is really invaluable, especially when you're working full time at your art.
Yeah, it's essential. A lot of my work, though, I suppose, is I have B House Arts and Health Service. So my my creative work in that area would lead me out into the community, into schools. Recently I'm working in the hospital and community centres, so I'm travelling and working outside the home with B House Arts. But it's time to return now to having a more professional space and place of work for the other side of my practice.
Yeah, you do an awful lot of work with other people and community groups. I'm sure it's a lovely thing now at this point in your career to be able to go back maybe and have some time to just put into your own personal work.
Yes,
because I'm sure, your experience over the years with all these people will probably very much feed in. Is that true to say?
Yes, definitely. Everything I do, every experience of life feeds into, as I say, stocks the pond of creative output, but it's quite full at the moment. So and there's definitely explorations I want to discover and explore, as I say. But that won't happen unless I give myself a room of my own or a space of my own. And I think a shared studio space that's hopefully going to happen soon will be very beneficial for all artists involved and give us, I suppose, a more public, even though it's not open to, the studios won't be open formally to the public, but it'll give us presence within the town where formerly, traditionally, artists always worked in their own spare rooms, or they built studios in their sheds or whatever. So it'll give more of a presence to artists.
So a lot of the work that you do, say, with other people is very much connected to health, wellness, mental health issues. Is that a feature of your own work?
Yes, I am. I'm very interested in, I suppose, the body and its fragility and motherhood, aging, all the facets of life. Everything I've lived through has come through in my work, I suppose. Most of it, anyway. So, but there's a huge amount there still undone, I feel. So, working with other people is also a new way of working, which is becoming more known about, socially engaged practice, activism style work. And I think that is slowly, wanting to make itself heard through my own private, more individual practice, which can be quite, I suppose, an indulgence. It can feel like an indulgence. You're working with yourself and your own ideas, and you're not engaging really with anybody. But I suppose the work has been done now through my other work, the work of engaging. So if it leads that way, it may well come full circle in a strange way, if you can understand that.
Yeah. That's interesting. Bee House Arts is something that you've been doing for a few years. Mm-hmm. Would you just like to tell me a little bit about that? Yeah,
I did a residency in Waterford Healing Arts Trust many years ago, and it was the first time I realised that I actually did a project that was participatory. The resulting images were purchased. Well, part of the deal is you bequeath some of your work as part of the residency to the hospital, and the Wishing Balloon project was kept by the hospital, and now they're using it to celebrate 25 years of the anniversary of Waterford Healing Arts Trust. So I was very honoured to be on the cover of their brochure for the exhibition, 25 objects to celebrate the hospital, which is in Garter Lane Gallery at the moment in Waterford. So the Bee House Arts then, it began after a number of years after that residency. I was exploring ways of maybe doing something in a similar vein, in a smaller way, of course, with the potential that it might grow into something bigger. But it's a one-person, self-employed business, really, as an artist and an art facilitator of others to find well-being through creativity.
So tell me a little bit about your Ways to Wellness workshops that you're running continually.
Yeah, the ETB have funded Ways to Wellness, so I devised a series of workshops for people who just wanted to have a taste of different mediums and also explore maybe personal, I suppose, experiences. It wouldn't be therapeutic, of course, but it is therapeutic to meet other people and create together. And Archive, a group I founded in 2009, they're kind of hosting it, organising it as well. And we've done 3 now to date. And we're also going to be in the Clancy Brothers Music and Arts Festival coming up on the bank holiday weekend in June. We're in the Nanonagle, I believe. We'll have a small selection of some of the participants' work. Sure. That's in Carrick-on-Shore, yes. There's a great theme, I believe, of Woodstock. So it'll be all hippies and flowers in our hair. Yeah, so hopefully the sun will come out for that, and we'll get back to.
You have your finger in a number of pies, Brigid. Can I just say, because
probably too many pies at times.
It's just, already now. Archive, that's a group that maybe people wouldn't be familiar with. Your Bee House Arts projects and all that stuff is something maybe people wouldn't also be overly familiar with. The Artist Studios, again, people aren't fully aware that probably that project is coming to its conclusion now and it's about to be set up.
Yes.
I mean, we've waited a long number of years for something like this to happen. So you're kind of the trailblazers of the...
Yeah. Well, we looked many years ago. We set up Archive many years ago to get a studio and work together. That was our first aim, and we found it very, very difficult in Clonmel. And I can understand owners being wary of a group of artists and maybe all the cliches about artists, that they're unreliable or they're going to wreck their lovely premise or whatever. But we eventually found a place out the country and stayed there for a number of years. Worked there as a studio, but we had to give that up then after a while. So we went back to more, I suppose, discovering the joy of working together and more exhibiting together. And we did a number of pop-ups which developed into, crossed over into the areas of arts and mental health, with Nest Space that ran a number of years here in Clonmel during the South Tipperary Positive Mental Health Festival. But Archive now, I suppose, is winding down a bit, and maybe the upcoming energy will be in the Clonmel Arts Group Studio. And it's still new, but the seeds have been sown. Other people have been knocking on different doors as well, and there's a great community of different practitioners who require space to be creative. And you can see where, the places where artists have been supported in their early incubation style spaces, that the arts have really flourished in those towns. So it's time now to step up here in Clonmel and support creative people who have given an awful lot back throughout the years to Clonmel through their lots of long hours of voluntary work with various initiatives and public events, such as, say, the Zombie Walk in Halloween, and all the hours they put in on various different projects and festivals. So
that's quite true. And the way that you say you can see it in certain towns, you can see where art is appreciated and embraced and shows in every aspect of town life, I think.
Yeah, it's I think we have some amazing people here, but they kind of work away on their own, and I think we need a bit more joined up recognition of the arts within Clonmel. And we have a very good positive relationship now with Anthony Coleman, the district administrator at Clonmel Borough Council. He's been helping out along with South Tipperary Arts Centre staff in this initiative to find us studio spaces that are affordable for artists in vacant premises.
We leave it there, Brigid,
yeah.
And hopefully the next time we speak, we'll be speaking from the Clonmel Artists Studios.
Oh yes, that would be great.
And we can do a proper feature on it once it's up and running. And
I look forward to that.
Hopefully in time for even the Junction Festival, you might be in situ. And
oh, I expect so. Definitely. Thank you.
Thanks a million, Brigid.
Thank you, Emer.
Speaking of this year's Junction Arts Festival, the countdown to the 2019 festival has well and truly begun. Earlier, I met with Cliona Maher, the festival's new director, as the first acts for this year are announced. So, Cliona, it's exciting times. The first couple of events are about to be released for
yes, they are.
This year's festival. So I'm going to let you take the floor and tell us about it.
Well, I'm very excited about the festival because a number of things that had originally been planned had not gone out on tour. For example, there was a show from the Gate Theatre that they just decided was technically too complex, so they kind of cancelled the tour. But it actually meant that I had this opportunity of programming some stuff in myself, which has been great, though a bit of a challenge given the time constraints, Emer. So we're launching 3 events this week, and then we're going to be launching events every Wednesday until we kind of launch the full programme on the 27th of May.
And little teaser every Wednesday.
Little teaser every Wednesday, absolutely. Yeah. So you can kind of keep an eye on the website and keep an eye on Facebook, on Instagram, whatever social media you use. The 3 that we're announcing this week, I'm really excited about all 3 of them. One is a visual arts exhibition, which is, of course, at South Tipperary Arts Centre, and it's a project that I worked on from the other side with a local artist, Molly-Anna King, who's a really exciting, up-and-coming, fresh talent. She was artist in residence at the Arts Centre in 2017. She's a sculptor and she works in installation, and she's taking her inspiration for this installation from the mountain of Sliabh na Mán, and not just the sort of the physical mountain itself, but also the associated stories and the life of the parish of Kilcash, which is where she's from. So I think it'll be something that will be really unique, really interesting, and also kind of created by a great local artist. And that's part of what I really want the festival to deliver. For me, a festival like, I remember myself when I first started engaging with festivals like the Galway Arts Festival or Dublin Theatre Festival, it really opened my eyes to the possibility of art forms, street theatre, live performance. And I think it's great to sort of bring down exciting acts. But it's also really, really important to give a platform to the people who are working and practicing here in Clonmel. And we have just amazingly talented people in the visual arts, in music, in theatre, in dance. And I want to celebrate that and make it about us and not just about sort of bringing things in from outside.
So the theme of the festival this year is
the
all
mountain.
to do with the mountain.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. We're going to have an Instagram competition, and we'll announce the details of that in May. But we're going to have an Instagram competition on the idea of the hills on our doorstep are green too.
That's a lovely idea. I like that.
And the mountain will kind of run through a number of different events. So it's definitely kind of an influence on Molly's exhibition. The second event that we're announcing this week is it's looking back and looking forward. It's going to be a 20th anniversary concert for Rattle the Boards, who launched themselves 20 years ago this summer. And it'll be great to get the guys back. They're going to be doing a show in the White Memorial, and it'll be Rattle the Boards plus special guests. You can imagine who the special guests might be.
The baby and the granny and...
Might be. But they're such great musicians.
Oh,
and
my
God. They were fabulous 20 years
act.
ago, and you sort of think they've been playing together since then, and they, just that'll be a really, really great night. So we're looking forward to that. And then the final one that we're announcing this week is not from here. It is from very far away. There's a group coming from New Zealand. They're a theatre company a young theatre company that were like a smash hit at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival last year, and they have this very funny, irreverent, participative comedy based on the story of Don Juan. And it's going to be performed in a cabaret style, and you'll be hearing more about our cabaret venue later on in May, because we're going to transform a local space into a cabaret venue for the week. And this New Zealand company, they're coming over to do a UK tour. It's their only Irish date, and we're delighted that we'll have them in town for the week. They look like lots of fun. So that's our very international. So going from kind of really celebrating the local to celebrating the very international.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just explain the participative aspect of it for anybody who mightn't, understand what that entails.
I think it means that if you want to and you're sitting up the front, you might find yourself part of the action. So if you remember Unbelievables, John Kenny and Pat Short, they had that great show.
That was almost it was almost element of utter terror that you'd be the one that they'd put their finger on.
Yeah, you just need to sit at the back if that's not your thing, and if it is your thing.
It enhances
but it's part of the fun, and it also means that it's different every night, when you do something like that, because the actors are interacting with the audience. It's like a good stand-up comedian, it's kind of they're reacting with what they're getting from the audience. So I think that'll be a really fun night out.
That sounds good now. That sounds good.
So those are the three that we're announcing this week. And we're also announcing, and you'll see it on the website, where we have an open call for Down the Lanes project, which is supported by Creative Ireland. And it's a project to shine a light down the lanes of Clonmel, of which we have so many. And we always associate laneways with sort of dark, dirty, dodgy. So we're going to try and make them beautiful and make them interesting and have something interesting to look at down the laneways. So it's open to local artists to send in their ideas.
Even on the main street, there's several lanes, and while you might cast your eye down the lane, nothing takes you down there.
So I think we're going to look for kind of things that are eye-catching, that are very visual, and so we'll be launching that again this week if anyone is interested. Because there are so many actually in there, and it's... I grew up beside a laneway. I grew up off Blue Anchor Lane, so, it's a nice big
even
laneway.
The name, that lovely name, has so many associations. You could do so much with that.
Yeah.
We might see something in Blue Anchor Lane then.
You might see
chances are.
I'm not going to be biased. There's a panel who will be looking at them.
That's quite a nice lane, actually, with the lovely arch and everything. Of all the lanes.
But also you've got some small, kind of narrow, cute ones.
Yeah. Barry's one's very interesting. Just the darkness of that's a real one that people would have, I think, connotations of, bad connotations of, or like it's not one you wouldn't walk down there on a dark evening.
No. And I think I don't know, was that the lane Sally Fennessy and her fiance did during the zombie walk had a murder victim, a murderer and murder victim. I think it could have been in Barry's lane. So this is to do something positive and light. Maybe. Okay. Not necessarily, it could be kind of a playful take on the lane idea.
Excellent. So every Wednesday until the festival,
yes,
there's going to be something new announced.
There's going to be something new announced, yeah.
Keep an eye on the website.
Keep an eye on the website. Keep an eye on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
That address
It's www.junctionfestival.com.
Junctionfestival.com. So it's in the same home it's always been in, essentially.
Yeah. It's there was, I think the board announced a couple of months ago that they were hoping to change the name to Clonmel Arts Festival to celebrate the fact that it's in Clonmel and it is an arts festival. But they jumped the gun a little bit. It's not actually as easy as that, and it's actually quite expensive to rebrand as an organisation. So we are definitely celebrating Clonmel and we are definitely celebrating the arts, but we're keeping the old name.
Yeah, it's a good name, and it is a brand, as you say. So
it is, in a way, it's a whole new festival, because I kind of walked into the office on the 1st of April and, it's all new. So there's a new team, it's a new festival, we have a couple of new venues, a couple of new faces, but we're, with things like Rattle the Boards, we're still lovely shiny office, so big, compared to.
And do we know yet where the box office is going to be housed?
Well, one of the box offices we will be announcing, because we're still waiting for permission, but the other one will be down at Showgrounds Shopping Centre, who are celebrating their 10th anniversary, and they have always been fantastic supporters of the festival, I have to say.
Okay, brilliant.
There's been a lot of really interesting things happening there over the years, and we're going to do some great fun participative things down there and around the town. One of the, I suppose, ideas of the festival is that, as well as sort of saying, come and look at this, you also have the idea of come and make this. And a festival is really an opportunity to make space for people to make art, get engaged, look, listen, but also sort of do something yourself.
Just to wrap it up then, the open call, people look at www.junctionfestival.ie.
Yeah, it'll be up from the 1st of May.
If you want to get involved in that, it'll be very interesting to see what people come up with, actually.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to seeing what people come back to us with.
And we will catch you again, Cliona, when the official programme comes out.
Oh, I hope so, yes.
We'll keep people posted on, week on week on what's happening through our pages as well. And we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks a million. Good to talk to you, Emer.
That Down the Lanes project certainly will add a new dimension to the streets of Clonmel, and I, for one, can't wait to see the results. Check out the Junction Festival website, www.junctionfestival.ie, or have a look at their social media pages for more details on that project. Finally, Clonmel Theatre Guild this year celebrate 50 years in existence, and to mark the occasion, the Guild are mounting an exhibition in Clonmel Library to mark the occasion. I met with Carol Acheson from the Guild, and we chatted about both the exhibition and the Guild's upcoming 50th anniversary production of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, which is of course based on the novel of the same name by Ken Kesey. So I'm here with Carol Acheson from Clonmel Theatre Guild, and they are having a 50-year celebration of live local drama that's going to take place in Clonmel Library. So Carol, tell me about the project.
Yeah, I'm organising it. I've spent the last couple of months gathering material from members and ex-members, photographs, posters, tickets, props, costumes, and small pieces of memorabilia from the past 50 years to put on an exhibition in the library.
So was it your idea, Carol?
I'm not sure. I'll say at the committee, we wanted to celebrate the Guild because of its 50th year. So we were afforded the honour of having a mayoral reception in February on the date of our inception of the Guild 50 years ago. So further to the celebrations, we're going to have this exhibition in the library.
I don't know how long you've been in the Guild as a member yourself, but was it sort of eye-opening to you as how much stuff or how much work that they'd accomplished over the years?
Well, yeah, every time you'd look at the programme, when we print our programmes, if you look at the back, I mean, the font has to be minuscule to fit all the productions that they've done. Yeah. And some years there's been 3 and 4 productions in the one year. We managed to get out 2, and we find that a struggle, but we do it. But I don't know how they did it back in the day to do 4 productions.
I don't know how you do 2, because you're seriously active as a group.
Yeah. So, and we've also run workshops and we do other things. We try to encourage other people to join in what we're at.
So what can people expect to see in the exhibition?
The aim is to have all my photos and posters arranged into the various decades. So there'll be a section on each decade, going from the 70s, 80s, 90s, 90s and the 2010s up to present. And I've got 4 mannequins organised to have the costumes. I'm getting one from the first production that we ever did, The Importance of Being Earnest. So I'm hoping to have Lady Bracknell on display. And then the 4th one will be the last one we did, which was Lend Me a Tenor. And it'll be the character of Tito, who's an opera singer, kind of crazy opera singer.
Out of curiosity, utter curiosity, who chooses what productions that you like? Are you always looking out for new ones, or would there be some that maybe you go back and revisit? Or
it's a mixture of all those things. We have an artistic director, it's Jim Malone at the moment, and he's supposed to keep his eye out for interesting ones that might suit us. And then you have to find a director, but sometimes it happens the other way round, that there's a director that wants to do a certain play, and so he or she brings it to Jim Malone and they decide whether it's feasible for the guild, because obviously some plays don't suit our resources.
So your newest production now is One Floor of the Cuckoo's Nest.
That's
That's a pretty challenging one, isn't it?
Yes, it is, and it isn't. Well, it is because we as the guild have never done it before.
Yeah.
But Anne Williamson, who's our director, has put it on with her own group before. So we've got the experience of somebody who's
done it before.
Staged
That should be
it
really
before.
interesting now.
Yeah. The star of One Floor of the Cuckoo's Nest is, you know, the main character is Randall P. McMurphy, and we have Pat Egan, who's worked with Anne in the past, but he's a brilliant McMurphy. And we've also a local pharmacist who works in town who's playing Chief Bromden, because it needed to be somebody who's very, very tall.
Yes, of course.
So we've got the Mr. McDermott who's going to play that role.
Oh, very good.
And the minute he came into the readings and sat down, we all kind of turned and said, Chief.
Very good.
I mean, we do have open and fair readings, but
I suppose sometimes
when you need the physicality, sometimes is important, and for that role, and unless you put stilts on somebody, it was
very good, very good. Personally, I've only ever seen the film. I've never seen it done on a stage.
Yeah, the stage version is different to film, because obviously we cannot go out and about. But very thought-provoking at the same time, because it's still so relevant, because we still have biased attitudes towards mental illness that go through our society. So I think it's well worth a visit.
Actually very topical for the moment, isn't it? Yeah.
And the way that the humour is, like, no matter what situation, whether you have cancer, if you have serious illness, whether you've mental, there's always humour to be found.
There is.
And that's what makes us human. That's how we get through life. It's very dark, and the end isn't. Well, people, spoiler. It's a very dark ending, but there's still a ray of hope going through.
Yeah. So that's in rehearsal at the moment. And
yes.
When is that going to hit the
That's
stage?
going to be on Wednesday, the 15th of May to the 18th, which is the same week as the exhibition.
Oh,
so
you're going to be a busy lady.
We're all busy.
Yeah. So it's going to be on in the library.
Oh yes.
And how long will it run for, Carol?
Yeah, for the week. I'm hoping to have it all set up on the Monday, and I haven't confirmed this with the library yet, but I'm hoping to have a launch night on one of the nights.
That'd be a lovely thing to attend, actually.
Yes.
Yeah. So in terms of new members, you're always open to...
We're always looking for new people, and we especially would like people who may not feel they want to go on stage, but want to help out backstage. But what we've been doing in the past is one group of us will be on the stage and the other group will be off, and then it kind of swaps around next time. If you were on last time, more than likely you'll be doing you'll be production, but we're still a bit stretched.
But you know, there are a lot of people who probably love to do the production stuff, but would be just that little bit
nervous.
Or it's just not their thing.
I mean, I'm available anytime for anyone who wants to help out.
Do you want to give a contact number?
Yeah, I'll give my number. Carol Acheson at 086 608 2504.
Thanks a million, Carol, and best of luck with the production and best of luck with the exhibition.
Thanks so much, Eva. Thank you.
Are you calm, Mr. Cheswick?
I'm calm.
Good. Now, as you all know, Mr. McMurphy has been running a small gambling casino in our tub room. Now, most of you lost all your cigarettes to Mr. McMurphy, not to mention a tidy sum of money to Mr. McMurphy. And that's why your tub room privileges have been suspended and your cigarettes have been rationed. Mr. Martini?
How are we going to win our money back?
You're not going to win your money back, Mr. Martini. That's all over. If you had obeyed the rules in the first place, you wouldn't have lost your money.
Well, that was just a tiny clip from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, the 1975 classic directed by Milos Forman. I couldn't resist. Mind you, I had to search for a piece that was suitable to play. The play runs from May 15th to the 18th at the White Memorial Theatre, and you can have a look at the Guild's Facebook page for the ticket details. So that's all I've got for you this week, folks. I hope you've enjoyed listening as much as I've enjoyed making this. Again, thanks to Brigid, Cliona and Carol for their time, and I'll be back in 2 weeks with the next instalment. Slán.